Hello. We're gonna go ahead and finish off this random box of crafts. Uh, and I'm going to resist the urge to turn on music while I do them because every part of my, or like horror stories, or one of those things, because that is the thing that my brain kind of wants to do right now. But we gotta do this. We're gonna do this first. Apparently, we are weaving. I guess we're gonna go ahead and start with this pumpkin. We're gonna start with the pumpkin because that's the one I've chosen to start with. Honestly, the pumpkin probably the thing I'm the most likely to actually keep out of this, and maybe the raccoon mask. Although when I say keep for the raccoon mask, what I actually mean is give to my younger siblings because they will play with it. Oh hey, they actually made this out of felt. I love how they made the pumpkin one of the more high quality ones. Anyways, it says to weave this in between them, I guess. So I guess we'll see how that goes. It kind of vaguely gives instructions. I'm going to do it in the way that makes the most sense to my brain. Cause I don't know. The instructions they gave were too vague, so I'm doing it the way that my brain says to do it. How about that? How about that for an excuse? Instructions unclear. Doing it myself. Um, do 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 do. And you go. And you go. That'll do. That'll do, I guess. Anyway, sure. And then you get to play the twisty it at the bottom and cut off the extra later. Do 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 do. I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm just doing this, I guess. Do do do. Do 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 do. Also, don't know where my brain came up with doing it this way, but you know what? It's kind of vaguely based on the instructions and also kind of vaguely based on what my brain says is the correct way to do it, which is almost entirely incorrect, by the way. Don't listen to my brain. My brain doesn't know what it's doing. But you know what? Here we are. I think the problem is my brain looked at the way that they said to do it and I was like, that's far more work than this singular tiny foam pumpkin thing is worth. This side had significantly less holes than this side did. So that's weird. Anyway. Honestly, I think this one's only going to be a longer project because it's weaving. Because it involves this weaving thing. I kind of like that only the one has like solid lines. Because if you actually look at a pumpkin, they don't have solid lines. Like, they just simply don't. Although it is weird that this one had the correct number of the way that I did it, giving me a solid line, and the rest of them somehow do not. That one's a little bit weird to me. I don't understand how that happened. Not entirely sure how they managed to have one have the correct number of lines for me to do a solid number and the rest do not, but you know. Oh good. I forget that they're glittery pipe cleaners, which means that when I cut them, all of the glitter is going to go everywhere. Oh god. Oh god. Well, that's going to be fun for me to clean up later. And by later, I mean immediately after I'm done with this project. Because I have a tiny vacuum cleaner, so why would I not use it? You know. I don't know why I cut those now instead of like finishing this first, but you know. Here we are, I guess. Maybe I am like slightly changing this as I'm doing it, and I just haven't noticed that I am. That would explain the not solid lines. But I don't know, I thought I was doing it the same way every time. Someone in the comments is going to slow this down and be like, actually, you were doing it like this. You did it like this first time, and now you're doing it like this. And that's why your lines are wrong. Again, this is a freaking child's craft. I don't particularly care. Um, Good news is I think this one's the only messy one. Okay. Swell. Give you a little leaf because I can. There we go. That is a very cute pumpkin. And a very messy pumpkin. And we're gonna go ahead and get rid of one of those things immediately. Woo! Why am I like this? Annoyingly, I had two of these. My second one decided it no longer wished to function. And that makes me sad because my second one was my favorite one. Because my second one was frog shaped. This one's just shaped like an angry man. My second one was frog shaped and it decided to die. And I'm like, no! You were my favorite of the two. Why? Anyway. So as to make things as easy as possible for me, relief is next. Leaf? Ah, there we go. It came with this impossible to see flat plastic thing. Okay. I see now. Also, bonus leaf shaped sticker if you want it. Because that's a whole heckin' leaf sticker if you decide you want it. Gonna be honest, I'm probably gonna do the same thing I did with the scarecrow and cut part of this to make the tag for up here. And boop. There we go. I'm gonna keep that just in case I need a different size sticker. Ba-doop boop. Oh, that's gonna be obnoxious to try to get on exactly the correct way. But okay. I think this is the other messier one. Because you have to glue all these individual little bits on. And they gave you 4 pieces of each, it looks like. Oh, and 1 random brown one. Oh no, never mind. They were just really well stuck together for the brown for some reason. Alright, cool. Yeah, they gave you 4 pieces of each of the 4 colors. That makes sense, I guess. I'm sure this glue is definitely 100% going to stick to this plastic. And I'm not going to regret my choices in doing this at all. How is there a hole? Okay. This glue is really, really, really thready, and I don't know why, because I've not had like a glue like this that is as thready as this one is. But anyway. Ah! I don't even have a fan on. What the hell? Got it. So the reason I'm doing it like this is because I don't want a thick layer of glue on any of these, because I have a feeling a lot of times with glue like this, once you put a thick layer down, it does not want to stick. Especially on smooth plastic. Now it shows on here overlapping them like a lot, but it looks like they just barely gave us enough to do the thing. Actually, maybe not. I guess they gave us slightly more. I'm also trying to make sure that I have some of each of the colors in each location without overlapping the colors too much. Yeah. I feel like they shouldn't have given us brown for this, with the outside of this being brown. I just don't know what other color they would have given us with the outside of this being brown. Because I guess these are the four main fall colors. Like you think orange, yellows, reds, and browns. So I guess this is probably technically correct. It's just doesn't feel like they should have used. It doesn't feel like they should have used brown for this when the outside of this is brown. You know? Oh, well, that didn't work. I was hoping I could slide the whole piece over, because I am a little bit short there. I guess. We'll have to do this way then. There we go. There we go. So, the easiest way you're going to get a actual good finish on this is to cover it with Mod Podge after you put this on. And that way you no longer have all of the flappy bits sticking up. You could also, I guess, water down glue, because Mod Podge is kind of just essentially watered down glue. And I guess they do give you the glue. So I guess if you have leftover glue, and you're probably going to have leftover glue unless you're like really, really doing a whole lot. So you could probably just water down the glue and use a paintbrush to brush it on. Or you could use Mod Podge if you happen to have some lying around. And you care about like preserving it. And you want the flaps to be down. Because if you were to like individually glue all of these pieces down, one, it's going to take a very long time, and two, you're going to end up with a kind of soggy mess. Uh, and plastic like this does not like thick layers of glue. And trust me, I've tried multiple times. It does not like thick layers of glue on it for and actually drying with it. So yeah, that's about as close as that's getting in terms of it being actually on. The other problem is because they made this part a sticker, if you're off even a little bit with putting this on, it's not fixing itself. You can't peel this up and put it back. You're better off just going around and trimming the extra plastic off. Because there's no peeling off the top leaf like you can with the other projects. Because again, it's not, if you try to peel off the top leaf, you're going to also peel off all of the paper. There we go. The good news is because it's just thin plastic, it is easy to clean up. There we go. I assume that's hot glue that got on here at some point. I really need to wash this, but am I going to? No. I'm not. Let's be honest. It's not. I'm not. That's not happening. Um. Oh, they actually say to sandwich this in between this. I'm gonna be honest. I don't trust doing that because it would be really, really easy to accidentally get the threads into the thing like that. Whereas if I just stick it on in the back, I don't have to worry about it. And yeah, it's just a tiny bit in the thing, but not enough that it's a problem. Okay, that doesn't actually look bad as a little fake stained glass thing. I'm not mad at that. That one I might actually bother keeping because that's actually kind of cool. Hold on. Let me see if I can. Nope, that's not working. I think because it's too bright. Yeah, that actually kind of works pretty well. It looks better in person, obviously, because it's not as bright. But yeah. I might actually bother Mod Podging that and then keeping it. Hmm. I'm not mad at it. Kind of like it. I'm okay with it. Neat. Anyway, I feel like crafts like these, particularly if you were to get like a Christmas box, are good for little kids to have because then the little kid can use them for like Christmas presents and then they don't have to feel like left out because they can't give any gifts because I've always felt like crafts are really good gifts for like to have little kids give out. And crafts like this where it's like a box of like like 8 of them. If you found a box like this that was specifically Christmas instead of Thanksgiving, which I'm 100% sure they make, it would probably be a nice little gift for like a kid to give out, because then not everyone's not getting the same thing. Oh, this is gonna end poorly. Glue likes sticking on these, she said sarcastically, knowing that it doesn't. So the thing is, glue usually doesn't have a problem sticking to regular pom poms. But these glittery, annoying ones, at least in my experience, the glue does not particularly like. I assume because the glitter sticks out farther than the actual rest of the pom pom. Um, yeah, so right there was proof of how stringy this glue is. And you literally just watched it pull away the thing as I moved it. Um, they are at least generous with their googly eyes. Most of these kits that have had the googly eyes have included a third extra one in case one of them gets lost. That's kind of nice, at least. And it grows my tiny googly eye jar. My jar of tiny googly eyes in the background. Yeah, this glue feels like it's somewhere between like a tacky glue and a school glue. And it's giving me weird vibes and I don't like it. The good news is, with how weirdly sticky it is, it might not actually have nearly as much of a problem with sticking to the frickin' thingy doodles. Ah! The wing! It leaves! Anyway, yeah, that's about what I expected to happen. Alright, I am not going to lift that for a little while. But look, it's a turkey. Going back there now. The turkey's going back there now. Anyway, now for the final project of this box. The larger one. And I'm gonna be honest, the cuter one. Though the one that I thought was the better one to be doing. The one that would actually probably be worth giving to someone. To be fair, so the main ones that I have liked so far have been the leaf. The pumpkin is actually a fairly decent quality. And the mask. So I think maybe just the first ones that I did were just not good. These be stickers. Yay. Okay, cool. So they did the slightly annoying thing of here are stickers, and here are more stickers that you have to place inside of those stickers. Nah, my spacing's off. I can never get spacing right on letters. I don't. It's annoying. I've never been good at that. I've never been good at eyeballing the spacing of letters. And the problem is, since this is felt, I don't think I can. Yeah, there's no peeling that up and redoing it. Don't worry, it's bothering my little OCD, ADHD, whatever brain too. You know, whatever part of my brain is responsible for being bothered by that, it's bothered. I just cannot fix it. Um and like, to be fair, I could have pulled them out without having the sticker tape off the back of them first and done it that way, but I the problem is that along with my OCD or whatever the heck, I also just the ADHD is stronger than that, and so here we are. It also, they did not make this banner as big as it shows in the instructions. Okay, because in the instructions, because I was basing how I was putting these by how much room it looks like they're giving in the instructions. Look at how much room they're giving in these instructions. And now look at mine. And now look at how much room they're giving in these instructions. And then look at mine. I was trying to put about the same amount of room on these walls, on these sides, as it looks like they're giving in the instructions. So my letters are bigger than the ones that they gave in the instructions, clearly. So that kind of sucks. Because I was trying to follow the instructions. And again, these do come off the sheet without removing the sticker backing itself. I'm just, I'm kind of just doing, if I'm being completely honest. I'm kind of doing this the way I'm pretty sure like a kid would be doing it. And I don't think they're going to be, most kids aren't going to be plucking the thing off and trying to arrange it onto the thing with the correct amount of spacing between everything first, and then, and again, I said most kids. I'm certain there are kids that would do that. I'm just also certain that I was not one of them. Oh, Jeebus. Alright. Cool. My A is supposedly in here. I'm not seeing it. Ah. There's two different shades of brown. Okay. tiny middle piece. It's annoying because it shows that it can come out, but it's not. There we go. Just gonna stab it with these tweezers until it vamooses. It is. Have I mentioned how it's incredibly difficult to see the letters in these sparkly ones? Like, I kind of hate the sparkly ones because it's incredibly difficult to actually see the letters that you have available to you in the sparkly ones. Do. Yeah. So I guess this is just. I guess they mostly did this probably to be like, here's an extra task. At least it's kind of how it feels. Like, this one was too easy to do, so they added more. Because I don't feel like the white is necessary. I feel like they just needed to give us an extra thing to do. Where is the A? Oh, there, I guess. Boop. Also, not a lot of like creative freedom in terms of how you put the letters, in terms of like what colors can go where. Because since there's not a lot of duplicate letters in this, it's kind of like you have to put them where we tell you. You have to use the colors we provide. And I know how cheap these foam sticker letters are. You could have literally just given us like at least a couple dupes, so that way we could have a little bit of freedom if we wanted to. Where is the S? Blue. So not entirely sure about the bright teal blue color choice. Um Honestly, I feel like green would have worked better because you've got a lot of green in other places in this. This is like the only blue thing, and it's really, really off. Like, it does not match. Like, just use green. Green would have been better. I feel like green would have matched better, like, generally speaking, too. Yeah, and like this red is not that much different than the other red. Like there's barely a difference between these two reds. And like they look more different on camera. Honestly, the biggest difference is that this one they covered in gold sparkles and this one they used red sparkles, and that's giving this one a little bit more of a rose gold look. And then it's just eh, slide the dowel in. Tie the dowel on. Honestly, they say to use like a weird specific knot for this. Why would you not just put holes in the dowel? Like, this is a kid's kit. None of them are going to use the weird specific knot that you gave us. Especially when you didn't give very clear instructions on how to do the knot. Like, hold on. That's the instructions for how they say to do the knot. And I would love to tell you it's clearer in person than it is on the camera. It's not. Not really, because they made it absolutely friggin' tiddly tiny. So, like, why would you not just put holes in the dowel? It's a children's kit. Just give us holes in the dowel. I'm gonna do it a completely different way. So that way I know for sure it's going to stay on. They at least gave us a weirdly large amount of string for some reason, so I guess we have that going for us. I'm going to wrap it through the actual cloth itself, so that way when it inevitably comes off of the dowel, it's still attached. Because you gave us bad instructions on how to tie the knot around the dowel. And you weren't smart enough to put holes in the dowel for a kid's kit. Putting holes in the dowel is the most obvious solution to this. You put holes in the dowel and you give us a thinner thread. Instead, you did this, so I'm doing it this way. There we go. I will give this weird glue this. It dries fairly quickly. But anyway, that is all of the things. Gonna be honest, I feel like the two ones they just kind of put in here were the turkey and the deer. The rest of them were not bad. The turkey and the deer were just incredibly cheap. It kind of feels like they gave us a cup like the two. It kind of feels like they had six and they really wanted to have eight, so they just threw in the turkey and the deer. The rest of them were not bad. Uh, the ones I'm actually probably going to keep are going to be the little Thanksgiving sign, the leaf, and I'm probably going to give my little siblings the mask. Honestly, though, what's weird is they made this pumpkin out of felt, right? Like cheap felt, but all felt is kind of cheap if you think about it. Um, why did they not make the mask out of felt instead of the pumpkin is the thing I feel like makes the most sense to be made out of foam. It feels to me like they should have made the mask out of felt and done that, because they make the felt that are the stickers too. I feel like that's what they should have done with the mask, and that way it would actually be flexible and comfortable more on the face. And then this could have been made out of foam, and then they could have just, instead of doing weaving for this, could have just given us stickers to do that with. Or glitter glue. Since you want to include glue so bad, give us glitter glue. And then you could have gone with the glitter glue over this. And the glitter glue would have honestly probably been more fun for the dream catcher too, because you would have had that extra sparkle in the actual uh dream catcher, the sun catcher, the sun stained glass, fake stained glass thingy doodle. But yeah, all in all, it kept me busy for about 2 hours total, because both of these were like 40 some minutes each. And that tells me that it would probably keep a kid busy for longer, or for shorter if they have less patience. Which, fair. Anyway, not bad. I would say this is a thoroughly average kit. I would say this is probably better for if you're like having a Thanksgiving and you need something to keep all of the children distracted so you can cook. Buy a couple of these, put the crafts out on the table, and let the kids do the thing. The only problem with doing it that way is all the instructions are on one page, and so they're not really easy to cut out. But honestly, you could pretty easily just make copies of it and then cut out the strips individually like that, and then just insert the instructions with each of the little individual craft bags. Yeah, that kind of feels like what this is intended for, honestly. Just a craft to keep the children busy while you're cooking for Thanksgiving. And in that case, it does the job perfectly. Anywho, Tootaloo.